Welcome back to Introduction to Programming. This is video 11 in our series. My name is John Duane. Today we are going to cover ways to affect program flow. The particular methods we're going to talk about are the if, then, else constructs. This is a basic programming building block found in every programming language. As is our custom here, we will first look at the construct in Visual Basic for applications, but I'll also show you what it looks like in the C family of languages. It works the same generally, but it looks different. So we'll start with an easy example in VBA and then add examples which are progressively more complex. Here are some things to look for in the examples. First, there's a structure to these if, then, else statements. When writing your code, you have to be faithful to these structures. If you don't, the compiler will let you know immediately. Second, notice how the logic of the statements is designed generally to capture all the possibilities in the thing we are working on. There is nothing worse than to design a program to catch only 5 out of the 6 possibilities. That is a bug the compiler will not tell you about. You will simply have bad output. Okay, let's look at our examples. Alright, so here we have the interactive development environment for Visual Basic for applications. I've got a program started already. I've declared a variable called int number, and that's an integer. I've assigned the value 60 to it, so that's the thing we'll be evaluating in our if, then, else statements. The first statement's here already. This is the shortest way you could possibly express an if statement. It's all in one line. It starts with if, has the test, is int number equal to 60? If that's true, the keyword then directs us to this expression debug print and then this string expression 60 the short way. Debug print, this refers to the immediate window. We haven't looked at this yet, but I really like the immediate window. It's a way to show output right on the screen. So that'll be down here in the bottom panel. So let's run this, and you'll see how the output appears in the immediate window. I predict that we will actually print 60 the short way, since we're evaluating int number to be 60, and it does indeed have 60 in it. So let's run it, and there you go, 60 the short way. All right, let's clean up what we have in the immediate window. And let's show that same construct except in a little bit more of a wordy structure. This is 3 lines. It has some of the same things. It has the if keyword to start. It has then after the test. It has the action that we want to do. And because this is now a block, multiple lines, we have the end if there at the end. So it's important. Without that end if, the compiler will give us a runtime error. So let's run this and see what we get. And here we get 60 the long way, which is what we have here. And it also gave us our first if statement as well. So let's clean up the immediate window, and we'll get another example, this time a little more complicated. So far we haven't really done anything about other possibilities. Well, you know, what if it's not 60? So now we introduce else. So here's else. The block is getting a little longer, but it still begins with if and ends with end if. Here else is going to give us every possibility except for the one tested for it here. So if int number equals 50, we'll print this. If not, we'll get what follows the else. So let's run that. And there you go. At the bottom in the immediate window, if it is not 50, it's 60. We're looking for 50, and that wasn't it. So that's else. Pretty straightforward. There's another word we can, or another term we can use to look for one more possibility. And we get that now. Oh, geez, my indentation's all messed up. Let's back that up a little. Oh, now it's got to go. There we go. So here we have else if. So that's the new thing here. We're going to test for 50, then else if we'll test for 55. Notice we use the then keyword again after else if. Pretty much anytime you have if, you need to use then. Then else captures every other possibility. So the result of that is going to look like this. It's not 50, it's not 55, it's 60. So that's else if. You can have more than one else if. And that's our next example. So let's paste that in. In here we'll look for 50, 55, 58. Notice we have two else ifs. And then if it's not any of those three numbers, then we default to the final else. So let's clean up the immediate window and run this. Let's see what we get. And there we go. So now we have four lines in the immediate window. It's not 50, 55, 58, it's 60. Let's change this number up here just for the fun of it and see what happens. Let's change it to 50. Clean up the output in the immediate window and run this. Interesting. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 different constructs, but we only have 3 lines here. And that's because we have not accounted for the possibility that it could be a number other than 50 in the first 2. So those 2 basically just got skipped. So that's Visual Basic 6.0 and Visual Basic for Applications. They're identical. Now let's look at the same statements in C#. If I were to have written these in Java or C++, you would not notice a difference. They all come from the C language and they use identical syntax. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so here's Visual Studio. This is a program already written in C#, and you notice immediately it looks different. It's not quite as wordy. We have the customary curly braces, and a little bit different syntax. So let's kind of take a look at this. The test is on this first line. So if int number equals 60, we had that in the Visual Basic. So now here we have it in C#. Here the equals has to be a double equal sign. So that's a little different. Here it's assignment of 60 to the variable, so we only use one equal sign. And then we'll write out to the console. Here, if the number equals 50, we do this, else we do this. So here we have the else just like we had in Visual Basic, but again, curly braces surround the action that takes place after the testing. We have else if also in the C languages. So starting to look familiar. And we could have multiple else ifs as well. I just have one here. In each case, we're going to write to the console, and then the console read line statement below that is to just hold the screen so that we can actually read what's there. Otherwise, it would just sort of disappear in a nanosecond. All right, so let's run this and see what it looks like. So here's the console, and that's the output from our first if construct. That's from the second. This all looks familiar. It's not 50 or 55, it's 60, and there it goes away. So, so that's it. That's what the C languages would look like. All right, so to wrap up, the coding syntax in VB 6.0, VBA, and the C languages is pretty straightforward. Once you are comfortable with how to write the statements, your focus has to be on which situations call for which structures. Now in our next video, we'll cover another way to manage program flow when you have more than 3 possibilities that you're evaluating. And that will be the select case construct. So that's going to be in our next video. But that's it for this video. I hope it was helpful. Please subscribe to this video series and write comments about anything that was not clear. I will monitor the comments and definitely respond. See you next time.